We are now on day 3. Thank you for being here with me on day 3. Just to explain, I just got done with the same trance meditation that I've been using with a teacher who I highly respect. And I consistently use the same audio recording. It was personalized for me. So Spirit just wants me to explain this to you as how I get into this state of trance. And to explain my process a little bit, because you might be of interest. And it will help you as well to know this information, not only for your own interest, but your own growth and expansion. If this is too slow for you, you can speed up the audio. It does take practice, that dreaded word, practice. But whatever it is that you want in life, you practice it. Even relationships, even your career, your craft, your sport of your choosing. So this is the same. So we're all beginners with something. With whatever it is that we feel called to do, we're all beginners. And this is a good thing. It's a good thing. Do you know why? Because when we think we know it all as an expert, we run ourselves thin, as a way of explaining it. So with a beginner's mindset, we are open to receiving the goodness from the universe, the ideas, the creations, the imagination, the teachings. We're open to it, and so we take it in and absorb it much easier than if we were to think that we were maxed out on our capability of absorbing information as an expert. Now, this isn't to say that you aren't an expert at some things, but to just keep an open mind is what Spirit wants me to convey to you. And if you've been following, you know that when I say spirit, you can think of it as God, the universe, higher consciousness, energy. That's a new one. It's whatever feels good to you. So stick with that thought in mind. And so why would someone want to get into a state of trance? Now, my own mind just got in the way, just a smidge. And that's why, because we train our brains to stay connected to this God source. And this God source is pure love. And with pure love, there's infinite possibilities of pure, purposeful, guided living. It's not about what we may call materialistic items, although that's part of it, because as humans, we get to experience these items that we find as materialistic. So with that being said, the more that you allow your mind to relax its thoughts, relax its nervousness, relax its worry, the more that you can feel this loving source running through you. And thus, life truly does become easier. It really does. Now, tragedy will still happen. Hurt will still happen. That will be ongoing in the world. But when you choose to connect, whether it be through trance or meditation, or simply focusing on the breath, whatever practice gets you aligned is what will be the source of your gratitude and your form of conquering this world. It will be easier to take on these challenges that this world and experience as a human being gives to us. Challenges will be present in daily actions, even, just the mundane chopping away in the kitchen, maybe the baby crying, maybe the husband or the wife giving you a hard time for whatever reason. So there's these subtle nuances that we must deal with on a day-to-day basis as well. But the more that you choose to align, the more that you will invoke your inner power, the more that you will feel at ease. Sometimes we choose to give ourselves a harder time because perhaps subconsciously we feel we deserve to make things hard for ourselves. So we create things that make it harder for ourselves. We take on more responsibilities. We choose to have maybe more children. We take on more work at work. We choose to continue relationships that do not give us a sense of peace. But you don't deserve to take on excessive hurt outside of your already responsibilities. There are those necessary responsibilities, and then there are those unnecessary responsibilities that we tend to tack on. And then eventually we're drowning in our own self-made demise. So this is all about how can I make life easier for myself? for you. How can you make your life easier? Now, immediately you might think, well, you don't know what my life is all about. Or this person did this to me, so that's how this is going to be. You're right, I do not know what your life is all about. I only know what this present life is about in this body. And to give you an example, my mind came in just quickly, and then I'm back to reality here. You can create an easier life for yourself. The vision that I'm getting is seeing you on a bicycle. And there's a pothole or a bump or a squirrel. Something is coming your way. You have a choice. You can either hit the pothole. You can go over the speed bump as fast as you can, knowing that it's going to cause a big oomph. You can be frightened and start to be nervous that there's an animal crossing. Or you can choose to see what's ahead of you with this sort of far distance perception. Oh, alrighty. I see this in the distance, this challenge. This is metaphorical, right? This is metaphorical. I see this challenge in the future. I choose to be calm about going around the pothole. I choose to slow down when I see the speed bump. I choose to admire this little creature crossing the street. So it's just a tweaking of the mind and how you can deal with the reality that's in front of you. When we react in a way that's a bit restricted and frantic, it's because we're already in the mindset, the whirlwind of taking on too much. We're taking on too much. Whether you think you are or not. And so, what can you eliminate out of your life and out of your mind that will create a sense of peace for you? Getting rid of something, or donating something, or selling something, or whatever it is, can be challenging. It's hard because we collect, whether it's people, relationships, jobs, materialistic thoughts, we collect these things as a sort of reaching out for something to help us. But if you were to sit and align with this source, you will find that you'll still desire things, right? Because it's fun. But you won't feel so desperate to distract yourself with things. You'll feel more at ease. So this is why it's essential to understand. Now, this is not requesting you to get to this state of this present moment or how I'm presenting something to you. That's not what this is about, because we're all in different scenarios. We're all in different circumstances, although essentially we're all the same because we're all experiencing being a human. So with your own trust in receiving intuitive guidance now in this moment, You may say, I ask to receive intuitive guidance in this moment. What would be best for you that will help you align and connect with this God source? Receive an answer. Don't doubt it. Write it down if you can. Remember it. If there's more than one thing, which is best? Which is best? Just pick one and try it out. It can be yoga. It can be Pilates. It can be going to the park by yourself. It could be going on a solo road trip. It could be sitting down and lighting a candle and just looking at that candle. It could be opening up a book, a Bible, sacred text. But essentially what all of this has in common is you're allowing your mind to quiet by being by yourself. Even if it's a yoga class, you're still there by yourself. You're not interacting actively with anyone else. You can still have others' energies around you. Okay? This does not mean that you're lonely, and this does not mean that you're doomed to be alone for the rest of your life. This is taking the time to connect with this God source. You can still experience it and see it in the moment, but that takes a different kind of practice when you're with, let's say, your family or your friends. That takes a sort of detachment. And when you detach, when you're communicating with others, it sort of just seems like you're a little aloof, which I know. So choose something that feels right to you. And you may have second thoughts about it. Well, I've never done it before. I don't know. What if this happens? What if that? That's pushing past the barriers of the mind, which, by the way, you will always have the mind. But eventually, the mind will start to quiet its worries because you're trusting more in this higher power. I'm not saying that you don't trust already, but it'll be a different kind of trust. Okay? So I believe we're coming to an end for this day 3 of trance channeling. I'm Tabitha Stitt, the self-help psychic. There are links below. And I know that sounds odd as I'm in this trance state still. But these messages are worth providing and sharing. Because essentially, it is all truly love and thus healing. So do take action, okay? And trust it. Trust this action. Trust yourself and trust this God source that is within you as well. That's the intuition. This God source is providing you with guidance. That's why you're listening to this, right? It's one of those external signs and symbols, but also internally, those messages are there for you in all ways for the highest good. And so it is. I feel like Spirit wanted me to say subscribe. Take that as you will. I'm back. Anytime I come back from being someplace, I always have that song in my mind. Back to life, back to reality. No, I'm not going crazy. Thank you for being here.